Warren Buffett is one of the richest people alive. He has been very successful as an investor and is the chairman at Berkshire Hathaway, a company that is the top 10 in S&P 500. But he wasn't always a billionaire and did not come from a very wealthy family. He made his first million when he was 30 years old and his first billion when he was 56. Now Warren Buffett is 92 years old and still working in the business world. This video will have a bit of his history as well as the main points of his investment strategies. Warren Buffett was born in 1930 in Omaha, Nebraska, right during the Great Depression. His father got fired from his job and started an investing business, later also making a career in politics. So, from an early age, Warren had an insight into the business world. He started reading books in his father's office, also about investing. Even nowadays, Warren Buffett has said that he reads 5 to 6 hours a day. At age 7, he read 1,000 Ways to Make $1,000 and started planning ways to earn money. He sold gum, Coca-Cola door to door, delivered newspapers, and at around 11 years old, he bought his first stock, saying that he would have done it sooner if he had enough money. After finishing college, he had saved $9,800. Nowadays, that would be around $112,000. He applied to Harvard but got rejected, so he went to Columbia Business School where Benjamin Graham was a lecturer. He speaks highly of Benjamin, saying that he influenced his professional career a lot. After university, he started his first partnerships, where multiple people entrusted him with their savings. In 1962, he became a millionaire thanks to these partnerships that had reached an excess of over $7 million. So in just 5 years, he had made a lot of money for him and other people. Around this time, he concentrated on buying small discarded companies that still had some potential in them. During this time, he also worked for other investment companies, and in 1962, Warren Buffett started buying stock in Berkshire Hathaway, a textile company. When his company's financial state did not get better, he made an agreement with Seabury Stanton to sell the company's stock for $11.50 per share, but after that got a written agreement for 11 3/8 of a dollar. This undercutting of the price made him mad, so he bought even more stock and fired Stanton. The company had a couple of slow years but became more successful when venturing into the insurance business and other investments. In 1957, he met Charlie Munger, who taught him, after the Berkshire deal, that not all cheap companies are good companies. He will later become his business partner and remains a long-time vice chairman at Berkshire Hathaway. Another one of Warren Buffett's close friends is Bill Gates, owner of Microsoft. In his life, he has had multiple teachers, starting with his father and later on Benjamin Graham. Warren had read Ben Graham's book The Intelligent Investor and also joined Columbia University because he was a lecturer there. When Warren wanted to work for Wall Street, his father and Ben talked him out of it. Ben Graham believed in carefully examining companies that you're investing in. He believed in buying valuable companies with potential so that it can pay off later, and he laid the groundwork for in-depth fundamental evaluation of the business. This is also how Warren Buffett approaches investing, not caring if the stock falls one day or a week, because he is playing the long game of value trading. This is the opposite of short-term trading, where you would see people sell and buy stocks much faster. He also learned the 2 rules of investing from Ben. Never lose money, and never break rule number 1.
The first rule in investment is don't lose. And the second rule in investment is don't forget the first rule, and that's all the rules there are. I mean, if you buy things for far below what they're worth, and you buy a group of them, you basically don't lose money.
Now, these rules might seem too simple or to some make no sense, but the idea behind this is that you should not go into investing with a mindset that you will win some and lose some. This is referring to the fact that a lot of people see trading as gambling and lack patience, since the stocks are very liquid. Instead, you should look at stocks from a long-term point of view, carefully examine the business you're buying, and have the willpower not to panic with the market, but also sell when necessary and cut the losses if the situation requires you to. Most people that buy stocks lose money because they do not do enough research into what they are purchasing, and don't have the consistency to succeed. The stock does not have feelings for you, so you should not have feelings for the stock.
90% of the people, I'm pulling a figure out of the air, but 90% of the people that buy stocks don't think of them the right way. They hope goes up next week. And they think about the market as something they hope goes up. And if it's down, they feel worse. I feel better.
And you think about?
I think about what the company's going to be worth 10 or 20 years from now.
Another good quote from Ben Graham is, "If the business does well, the stock eventually follows." That refers to the fact that you're buying a piece of business when you're buying a stock.
I mean, the game is very, very, very easy if you have the right lessons in your mind about what you're buying. I'm not buying stocks. I'm buying pieces of overwhelmingly American business. I'm happier when stocks are going down because I can buy more of them with the same amount of money. I'd be happy if I was a farmer. I'd want farmland to go down so I could buy more acreage.
It is far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price. You have to find the right company at the right price, and it is okay to have a period where you don't invest in anything if you do not see a good opportunity. Another piece of wisdom we can take from this billionaire is to never invest into something that you do not understand. Warren Buffett has said that he will not buy any cryptocurrency like Bitcoin because he simply does not see the value and the need for them.
Now, if you told me you owned all of the Bitcoin in the world and you offered it to me for $25, I wouldn't take it because what would I do with it? I have to sell it back to you one way or another, but it isn't going to do anything. The apartments are going to produce rental and the farms are going to produce food. That explains the difference between productive assets and something that depends on the next guy paying you more than the last guy got.
Of course, you do not have to follow his advice to become rich. After all, there are a million ways to get $1 million, and maybe doing the exact opposite or being creative is the way for you. Right now, most of Berkshire Hathaway's holdings are in Apple. Some others are the Bank of America, Coca-Cola, Chevron, and American Express. The company recently sold General Motors and Kroger. Warren Buffett has also been positive about investing in S&P 500.
The S&P 500 is, I don't know whether it's 80% of the market value of everything you can buy in this country. And I think it's over 20 trillion. And you're buying America. Let me give you a figure that'll blow your mind, I think. I bought my first stock when I was 11 years old. It was the first quarter of 1942, shortly after Pearl Harbor. I spent $114.75. Three shares, $114.75. If I put that 114 into the S&P 500 at that time and reinvested the dividends, think of a figure as to what it would be worth today.
Oh man.
The answer is about $400,000.
In fact, he once made a bet with Ted Sades, a hedge fund investor. Sades wagered that hedge funds would outperform the S&P 500, placing $1 million on the line. The bet lasted for 10 years, and in 2017, Ted Sades lost. Nowadays, he is alive and working at 92 years old, living in his hometown Omaha in a fairly humble house for a billionaire. He donates a big part of his earnings to charities and funds, some of which are run by his children or Bill and Melinda Gates. He has donated about $45.5 billion worth of Berkshire shares, which is more than half of what he owned. This donation spree started after the passing of his first wife, Susan Buffett. It is amazing how he is so down to earth and modest, even with being one of the richest people alive. He has said that he likes having money, but he also does not overspend on unnecessary things and urges everyone to work in a sphere that they enjoy.
What can I do that you can't do? Now, I get to work in a job that I love, but I've always worked in a job I love. I urge you to work in jobs you love. I mean, I think you're out of your mind if you keep taking jobs that you don't like because you think it'll look good on your resume. And then I said, what are you going to do next? And he said, well, maybe I ought to go to work for a management consulting firm because it'll look good on my resume. And I said, wait a second, you've been 28, you've been doing all these things. I mean, you've got a resume that's 10 times as good as anybody I've ever seen it already. I said, if you take another job you don't like just for I said, isn't that a little like saving up sex for your old age? You know, I mean, there comes a time when you ought to just start doing what, you ever got... So I think I got the point across to him.
He loves the business world and would not take another job. But keep in mind that Warren Buffett had to firstly work as a door-to-door seller and a newspaper delivery guy to later start doing what he likes. He understood at quite a young age what he wanted and started working for it. But do not think that you have to do the same or you miss your chance. There are many other examples out there about much older people succeeding much later in life. Warren Buffett is just one of countless people who you can learn from. I hope you learned something new today from this video, and if you liked it, don't forget to like or leave a comment of what you think. If you would like to learn more about this topic, I suggest reading the essays of Warren Buffett or watching a documentary about him.